Less than 24 hours after the devastating earthquakes in Türkiye, Lebanon sent its first search and rescue team. Since then, the country's top diplomat has also visited Ankara to show solidarity. But surely there is more to his visit than just that. I'm Hassan Abdallah, and I talked to Lebanon's Foreign Minister, Abdallah Bou Habib, one-on-one. Minister, Lebanon was one of the first countries to respond to the earthquake in Türkiye. We've heard a lot of appreciation from the Turkish side as well. You are here to express solidarity, but surely there's more on the agenda. What have you been discussing with the Turkish side?
No, we mostly heard from the Foreign Minister, Mr. Cavusoglu, about what's happening there in detail, how the reconstruction. This is most what we have discussed really yesterday with him. And we talked a little bit our bilateral relations. We didn't go to regional issues or international issues that concern either of us or both of us. So it was concise on the situation in Turkey. He kind of told us most probably we'll have the elections on time, on May 14, I said, I think. And with the bilateral relations. And we have very, very good relations. We are neighborly and friendly countries. We also discussed the situation in Syria, the earthquake situation in Syria. And he showed a lot of sympathy and support. We were also the first within our means to respond to the Syrian needs. You know, like our airport, our ports are open to all donors to come to Syria. And the UN organizations are using Lebanon's airport and Lebanon's port in order to carry things to Syria.
And during your joint news conference, Minister Cavusoglu once again reiterated Turkish position that Turkey is going to firmly stand for the territorial integrity of Lebanon. Given the current economic situation in Lebanon, given the fault lines, and given the very complex demographics you have, is there any real danger of a breakup in Lebanon?
No, I don't see presently any danger, really. We're still convinced that we have problems, and these problems could be solved by dialogue. And that's what we're doing now. We didn't reach a solution, but we are dialoguing. There would be no war. And we had a war before, and all of us, all the Lebanese, do not want war again. And so we are determined to continue dialogue despite the problems. But should I be afraid of if this political problem is longer? I don't know what's happened. But presently there is no chance of any problems in the country. I mean, security problems in the country.
What role can Turkey play to help Lebanon in the current situation?
Well, Turkey is friendly with everybody there. Turkey is, and it is really the ambassador there is working, helping, and sometimes in the reconstruction. And, during the blast in Beirut, the blast kind of destroyed our foreign ministry. We acquired a new building, which was also destroyed by the blast. And now the Turkish foreign ministry and the Turkish assistance, TIKA, okay, they are helping us rehabilitate the building and another building to have the foreign ministry there. And we are grateful for Turkey for helping us in this.
Both countries have been talking about boosting economic relations. When we look at the figures, relatively speaking, I think it's fair to say they're not so high. What's behind the relatively low bilateral trade volume?
Well, I think the last 2 years we had economic crisis still going on. It did not improve. But we have good trade, good relations with Turkey. I think a lot of things now come from Turkey than from, let's say, China or India or any other country or the West. But our level of imports have gone down since 3 years ago, since what happened in the peaceful revolution of 2019. So, but Lebanese, they see the Turkish market is a cheap market for them, and it is a closed market. They don't need to pay much for transportation, and I think the balance of payment between us and Turkey is really in favor of Turkey, not in favor of Lebanon, because we don't have much to export.
Recently, there's been a maritime demarcation deal between Lebanon and Israel. Now, given the fact that many Arab countries are not only normalizing relations with Israel, but are trying to boost their relations, can we expect a change in Beirut's policy anytime soon?
No, this was done with the help of the Americans. We didn't sit down with the Israelis and discuss the agreement. The Americans were the mediators, going and coming to Israel and Lebanon and talking with both sides. We will have no problem. You know, there was an Arab initiative in 2002 at the Arab Summit in Beirut, and this calls for the fair, acceptable solution for the Palestinian problem, and the Arab countries would recognize Israel. I know some countries, they recognize Israel now, and this is their right, but Lebanon will not do that until there is a problem, until the problem of the Palestinians is issued on the basis of two-state solutions. And also don't forget that in Lebanon we have around 500,000 Palestinian refugees living in camps, living really in a miserable situation.
How do you see the role of the international community? You've been dealing with this challenge of hosting refugees for a long time. You've got various other domestic fault lines and challenges. Do you feel that Lebanon has been largely ignored by the international community?
We have 2 million Syrian refugees, like you have 3 or more. But Lebanon is all 5 million. And you're talking about 40% of the Lebanese are refugees. And that's bothering us, because Lebanon is a very sensitive country demographically. We have balances in Lebanon, and we like Lebanon as it is, a Christian Muslim country. There isn't another country in the world which is Muslims and Christians have equal rights. They feel the same, and so on. We have problems among us, but problems are solvable. So these 2 million refugees, Syrian refugees, they really threaten the existence of Lebanon. The Lebanon that we want, the Lebanon that the Arab world and our neighbors like Turkey want. So, and the international community, not all of it, they're not helping in this regard. They're looking for their own interest, and they put it they engulf it in a way that humanitarian. It's not humanitarian. These refugees are not political refugees. They ran away from war, which doesn't stop now. There's no peace, but there's no war. And for economic opportunity. If they want to help them, they can help them in Syria.
Minister, if you look at the Arab Spring and how the situation has evolved, it's probably fair to say that the way the situation has evolved in Syria is very different from what was the assessment in many Arab countries. What is Lebanon's position on the future of Bashar al-Assad, and how would Lebanon like the countries to move forward on the situation in Syria?
Look, we talked about, you talked about Arab Spring. Look at the situation of Libya. It's miserable. Tunis is going back to where it was. Egypt went back to where it was. Okay, and now Syria. It's still the international community is still determined to keep it. I think there is time now to solve the Syrian problem, to unite Syria. It's in the interest of all countries, especially neighboring countries, to unite Syria. And what happens to the regime or whatever, it's not. We don't consider it our business. There are a lot of oligarchs in this world that are there without election, without free elections. And so it's not our business as Lebanese to say who is going to rule Syria. This is a Syrian problem. They fight with each other. That's their problem. And the world should try to make peace between them rather than really increase the problem.
Minister, good to have you on TRT World.
Thank you very much.